Hi there, welcome to my session. And we are still under World War One. We are done with the Western Front. We are also done with the trench warfare. And also we are done with the expansion of military alliances. So we are on the Eastern Front. And if you can remember, the Eastern Front was mainly on the Russia side and the Balkans. It was being fought in Russia and Balkans. So the Russians mobilized forces more quickly than the Germans expected, and they made a very grave mistake by invading Austria and Germany all at the same time. But the Germans soon humiliated them, and the Russians successfully occupied Austrian province of Galicia. Russian victory prompted the Germans to recall one of their retired general. He was called General Hindenburg, and they recalled him to war. And this general presided over the Russian decisive defeat at the Battle of Tannenberg in August 1914 and at the Battle of Masurian Lakes in September 1914. And during these battles, the Russian forces over 6 million lost vital manpower and equipment. Then Turkey joined the war in the year 1915, and the position of Russia became more vulnerable, and Turkey cut off the main supply and trade route through the Dardanelles Straits, and the Russians got a boost after Serbia dislodged Austria from her territory, and this enabled the Russians to fight Austria. So this enabled the Russians to fight Austria much more easily until Germans came in support to their ally. But eventually, the Germans wrested Warsaw and the whole of Poland from Russia. And in the year 1915, the Allied forces launched Gallipoli campaign in an effort to assist Russia by opening up Dardanelles, and the surprise campaign ended in failure because Anglo-French naval attack through the Dardanelles aimed at capturing Constantinople failed when the ships were being destroyed by the mines. This enabled the Turks to reinforce their defenses, and also the Austrian, New Zealand, and British troops who were brought in failed as the Central Powers had already taken position in readiness for the invasion, and the Allies had no choice but to evacuate. They had no choice but to evacuate their forces, and the failure of the Allies tempted Bulgaria to join war in October 1915, and in support of Central Powers. She easily defeated Serbia. The British troops in Baghdad were being besieged by the Turks at Kut el Amara in Mesopotamia, that is the present-day Iraq, until 1916 when the Turks surrendered. And Russians under General Brusilov made a surprise attack on Austria-Hungarian forces in the year 1916, and they took more than 250,000 captives, and this prompted the Romanians to join allies, confident that allies were on their way to victory. The Romanian glory was short-lived as she was soon overrun by the Central Powers, and the Allies made the situation worse by sabotaging Romanian wheat farms and oil wells in a bid to remove any possibility of their being taken over by the Central Powers. The Allied campaign encountered difficulty after difficulty, and the final tragedy to befall military campaign was withdrawal of Russia from the war in the year 1917, and Russian army was plagued by a series of problems. So this is a very common question in KCSE. You can be asked, why did the army forces withdraw from World War One in the Eastern Front. So the reasons why the Russian army withdrew from the war in the year 1917 is that they lacked arms, the lack of arms, insufficient food supplies, clothing, transport and communication, and incompetent leadership. And the climax of Russia ooze was that of November 1917 of the Bolshevik Revolution or the Communist Revolution. So that's all about the war on the Eastern Front. So in my next lesson, I'm going to look at the war in the seas. But we are seeing the war on the Eastern Front is now when the Germans are withdrawing from World War One. But will they still join World War One, or will they go away completely? We'll be able to see as we continue with the course of World War One.